Good morning. Welcome to a Money in the Morning recording. For those of you new to this, we have a podcast, an audio podcast that comes out 5 days a week, and we record it live on Facebook. So good to have you here. Feel free to take part in the comments, and we'll talk about those at the between the two headlines. We normally go to our live in studio Facebook audience. Today, I'm driving with the M22 mug. M22 is a street in northern Michigan. It's a little two-lane highway that goes around the Leelanau Peninsula where all the little wineries are. And I see that logo and I think about how great it is to be there, especially when it's humid and going to be possibly over 100 degrees today. So I have a note here from our producer, Richie. Got it here. Excuse me. All right, let's test our sound. We got a busy day here in the basement. Mom is having some carpet laid. So those people are here. We have a new intern starting today. Caden is with us today. And we have a bunch of interviews. Hey, Kimberly. Different mug every day. Hey, Jennifer. All right. So this will be for next Monday, unless, like yesterday, today's headline we inserted yesterday because of all of the market fluctuation. This will be on for Monday, unless something changes. All right, here we go. You know what time it is. Time for Money in the Morning. Hey there, I'm Joe Salcihai, Average Joe Money on Twitter. And what a show we have for you today. We have some excitement today because like every show, we take two headlines ripped from the media and we pair them together and give you a big idea about what's going on. So let's talk about the two headlines today. We're going to start off over at USA Today, where they're talking about the average retirement. What's average retirement look like? We'll talk about that. And then think you can't afford to take a summer vacation? We're going to tell you how to take a summer vacation on today's show, even if you can't afford it, or you think you can't afford it. Money in the Morning is brought to you by Tiller. You know, if you're a spreadsheet nerd like me, maybe those programs that they offer just don't do enough. You're attached to the spreadsheet. But what if I told you that you could have the spreadsheet and have all your personal information downloaded confidentially to that spreadsheet? Highly manipulatable, easy to use. Head to Tiller, StackyBenjamins.com/TILLER for more. All right. You've got places to go. We've got headlines. So let's get this party started.
Hello, darlings. And now it's time for your favorite show, our Stacking Benjamin's Headlines.
Headline today, this piece written by Diana Joachim, says, let's get real about planning what an average retirement costs. You ever wonder what an average retirement costs? We got you covered. The gray-haired couple sipping champagne on a beach at sunset. Grandpa teaching the grandkids how to fish at the family lake house. Are these scenes of carefree times in retirement based on financial reality? according to the latest Bureau of Labor Statistics data, which is based on 2016 figures, older households, in quotes, defined as those run by someone 65 and older, spend an average of $45,756 per year, or roughly $3,800 a month. That's about $1,000 less than the monthly average spent by all U.S. households combined. Naturally, your spending in retirement will vary based on countless variables, including the price of your preferred champagne and the annual property taxes on that lake house. Those things happen to be in your retirement vision board. Read on to learn how retirees' spending habits tend to differ from the working population, how you can plan for your personal post-work needs. I want to go through a few of these expenses that they list. I'm not going to go through all of them. We're going to start listing these, by the way, on my Twitter feed, Average Joe Money. So if you want to see what we're talking about on Money in the Morning, just scroll down on my Twitter feed and I'll have links to all of these for you there. But housing, average person is $1,322. The piece says you may be close to paying off your mortgage, but housing is the biggest spending category for all age groups, retirees included. We've talked about this before on the Stacking Benjamin show, which is if you want to be secure in retirement, let's do the sentence that way, Joe. It's a much better way to do it. If you want to be secure in retirement, pay off the mortgage. But a lot of the time, mortgages are at such a low interest rate that if it's going to be close, the interest rate's so low that maybe you stick money instead in savings. But the conservative way, pay off that mortgage. Transportation costs. We see a lot of people, once they get into their, quote, retirement years, save money on retirement costs. It says people older than 65 do catch a break on transportation costs. They have a lot less money, $567 a month versus an average of $9,000 a year for other age groups. Healthcare, of course, those costs go up a bit in retirement. Average person spends just south of $500. Food prices often go down in retirement because you can spend more money at home. Not as much gravitational pull toward eating every meal out. And then personal insurance and pensions, $237. Cash contributions, $200. Entertainment, $200. You can often get discounts. As an example, daytime at the movie theater. If you like movies like I do, daytime cost of going to see a movie much less than those primetime costs. So you go through these expenses one by one and you see how yours is going to change, which is the big point here, guys. I think the big takeaway for me when it comes to this idea of retirement averages is, who really cares about the average? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's neat to go through and see as a starting point what people are averaging. And maybe if you're a long way from retirement, we start with an average just to get moving, right? Just to start executing on the plan. We could spend all day planning, or we could just start putting some money away. And then as the goal crystallizes, we get closer, then we start nailing down some of these numbers. But we don't really want average, do we? I mean, screw average. We want our own thing. And if we can get that thing, why would I worry about what the average person's doing? It's actually far easier than you think to do your own financial plan. Far easier. In fact, I read, didn't we read last week somebody saying that they didn't have a financial plan because they didn't think they could afford it? And my answer was, I think they're confusing having a financial planner with building a financial plan. You don't need anything but a piece of paper to do some planning. You don't need paper. I mean, you could use your smartphone. You could just plan. It's not that hard to go in and build your own plan. Forget about averages. Forget about rules of thumb. Planning is easier and easier and easier, especially with a lot of the apps out there. Going to say hello between headlines here to our friends hanging out with us on Facebook. Kimberly's here. Jennifer's here. Hey, guys. Caden's here. Now, it's Caden's first day working in the basement, and I feel bad for Caden because he has no idea what he's getting himself into here. But I shouldn't have said that out loud, should I have? I should have. He also doesn't know about the hazing that mom does around 11:30, about 2 hours. So anyway, shouldn't have said that out loud either. But Caden, glad to have you on the team. We've got Glenn here. Good morning, Glenn. Our friend Mitchell from the Pouch Plan is here. He says, good morning, Joe. I just got 2 new grandkids last week. Mitchell's already got some gray hair, but he's going to be closer to me now with no hair. Of course, when you have grandkids, you get to do all the fun stuff. And then when kids get a little whiny, tough parenting stuff starts happening, hand them back over to mom and dad, right? Great stuff. Congratulations, by the way. Mitchell says, since one of them's named after me, I need to adjust the will. Yeah. If one of them's named after you, is that just your kids sucking up, Mitchell? We're going to name it after you so we get all the cash. I don't know. Karen's here with us. Good morning, Karen. And our friend Sandy from Yes, I Am Cheap. Great blog that says Sandy does so much stuff. That's not all Sandy does. Sandy is like a jug. Speaking of parenting, Sandy also is a parent now. So Mitchell's a grandparent. Sandy is a parent. Sandy says, I want to push as much as I can to that house right now because eliminating that bill means I need less to live on. Absolutely. If you can pay that mortgage off early, do it. And Sandy knows that the way I like to do that is to take that extra money that you're putting toward the mortgage and put it in a separate exchange traded fund, that you pay off the mortgage early fund, because you can pay it off even faster that way if your mortgage is at a low rate. It's good to just put it toward the mortgage. I think it's better to put it in the separate pay off the mortgage early fund. You'll save yourself lots and lots and lots of money. Lori is here. Hey, Lori. Lori, by the way, Lori works in Charleston, South Carolina, one of my favorite places on earth. And I miss Charleston. I was there for a couple of years and I miss it. Sandy says, my mom just turned 60 and she loves the senior citizen discounts that she now qualifies for. There's lots of those. Well, let's talk about discounts, not in general, but specifically with our second headline, because you don't have to be a senior citizen to get a lot of discounts. This one comes to us from Travel and Leisure. Think you can't afford summer vacation? How to go on summer vacation, even if you think you can't afford it, is this piece. This written by Kaylee Rizzo. Kaylee says about a quarter of Americans won't go on vacation this summer because they can't afford it, according to a survey from Bankrate. But for Americans who get paid time off from their work, not taking those days is a waste of time and money. Certainly, if you get paid time off at work, take it. And I know, and we've seen the studies of people and how fast the working world is and how much people feel like they're going to get behind or their manager is a pain in the butt. And if they actually take that time off, they're just going to have to make up for it later, right? People work a ton now before and after vacation just so they can take some time away. We certainly do that when we leave the basement here. So I get it. I get this feeling that you can't afford to take a vacation. The sad news is, if you look at my friends like Laura Vanderkam studies productivity, studies time management. Laura talks extensively and has done extensive work with researchers on exactly how badly you need that time away. Everybody needs that time away from the office to recharge the batteries. And listen, if you're in a job that's creative at all, you're not going to get any of that creativity while you're working in the trench. You have to be out. I only get ideas for these shows when I'm out on my morning run. I'm on a vacation. We just got back from Big Bend National Park, beautiful national park. And while I was out there, I had so many business ideas, but I don't get any here. You know why? Because I'm focused on the next job at hand. So it's a great way to recharge the batteries. You'll actually get more done if you take time away. The hours that you spend will be more productive. That's a fact. That's not just me making stuff up. You will have more effective time if you spend a little time away. You got to recharge. So my feeling, you can't afford not to. So I feel bad whenever I see 1/4 of Americans won't go on vacation because they can't afford it. I think it's fiscally responsible, but let's talk about if there's a way around that. So we'll get back to the piece here. It's important for Americans who have vacation time to use it, even if it's for something as low-key as a staycation, Bankrate analyst Amanda Dixon said in a statement. Otherwise, it's almost like you're leaving money on the table. For those who feel like they can't afford to take a vacation, get creative and think outside the box. Summer technically hasn't even started yet, and there are plenty of creative ways to make a vacation happen on a budget. The first step, they say, is to avoid budgeting for your trip and instead squirrel some money away using either a separate bank account where you're putting money aside, or something like Digit as an example. They use Digit as an example here. Now, Digit, you pay some money for. You can also use Rise. I use Rise for this same stuff. There's lots of apps out there that will let you automatically save money into this vacation fund. And then when vacation time comes around, then just budget the money inside of that. Don't budget for vacation as much as just find ways to squirrel little bits of money away and then decide how to spend that money and take at least, a long weekend with that. The next piece of advice they have here is to look for budget airlines. Now, budget airlines are a give and take, right? You can have a great time in Orlando getting there. You're going to be shoehorned in. But if you can stand a couple hours on a budget airline to get to a nice destination, you might be able to find a great deal on hotels there. I have used sites like Hotwire. And this is funny. So when I first started using Hotwire, and by the way, my friend Mike just finally, after I talked about Hotwire forever around him, he just found Hotwire. Now he thinks Hotwire is the greatest thing ever. By the way, Mike, you are correct. It is the greatest thing ever. But when it comes to Hotwire, I found out about Hotwire going to swim meets with my kids. And I remember I'm at this hotel that the swim team had advocated for. It was like a Crowne Plaza in downtown Indianapolis. And I'm staying at this hotel. Pretty cool little hotel, but I think I'm paying like $100 or $110 a night because we're right downtown. By the way, that's still pretty cheap for a downtown hotel in a fairly major city, but $110. The guy in the room next to me, my friend Paul, one morning we're getting ready to walk over to the swim meet, and Paul says, "What'd you pay for your room?" And I said, "What do you mean? It's $110." He goes, "I paid $45. How did you pay $45? Hotwire." And like my friend Mike said a week ago, he said, after you use Hotwire a little while, you know what hotel you're probably staying at. They don't tell you, but you know what hotel it probably is. You can also take a look ahead of time at what some of the reviews are, even though they don't tell you the name. So if you're familiar with an area and you use Hotwire a couple times, you pretty much know what you're getting into. I love sites like that. Budget airline, budget hotel stays, great ways to look. Also, look at sites like Kayak and Google. If you're flexible, you can snag great deals, this piece says, in September shoulder season. Right now, with children, you might not be able to do that with school. We're headed to Germany, Cheryl and I, this year in September, specifically to avoid crowds and because we're getting better deals. And we're still at the end of the travel season. So everything's open, but there's fewer people there and they're giving some stuff away. So much, much easier. In fact, we got a lot of discounted hotel rooms there using credit card points. That's something else to do. If you pay your bill off in full, look for a better credit card at stackingbenjamins.com/magnify money that gives you money back, travel awards, something like that. I've noticed a lot of these credit cards. Two of my credit cards right now are offering huge points if you buy your hotels using their card. So we've been doing that to score even better deals. But what's the caveat there? Know yourself and understand that if you're not paying off your bill in full, you're doing it wrong. So young me wouldn't have been able to follow this advice at all. If you had told me that I could get a bunch of free stuff using credit cards, credit card points, I would have gone, fantastic. I would have spent a bunch of money. I never would have paid off my bill. Horribly wrecked it. You have to learn a cash lifestyle first. Start off with that Dave Ramsey approach of cash first and then graduate, or use something like Debitize as an example to get you there. You can plan to cook your own meals. You can use unconventional accommodations. Like it says you can sleep in a college dorm to save money. If you're, you can look at couch surfing, home shares, hostels. Lots of ways to get better travel deals. So you need that vacation. You got to have it. So those are our two headlines for today. In just a second, we're going to meander on over to the big idea. What's our big idea today? We're going to have that in just a second, but I have to talk one more time about Tiller. Because if you're somebody that loves spreadsheets and you're not using Tiller, what are you waiting for? Tiller, by the way, coming out with some new spreadsheets. They've upgraded to a new version. I'm super excited to introduce it to you. We're going to, this week on Thursday, we're going to have on our Facebook Live, Stacking Benjamins Facebook Live, noon Central, or noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. That's 9 a.m. Pacific. For those of you that don't know math, we're going to have Peter on from Tiller, and he's going to walk us through how it works. But stackingbenjamins.com/Tiller. and use spreadsheets the smart way for your budget. If you're a money nerd, you love spreadsheets, you want to use Tiller. All right, so we had 2 headlines today at this point in the show. Very exciting for the show, by the way. I take headline number 1, which was all about what? It was all about this idea of an average retirement. And we went over some of the retirement numbers. And our takeaway, screw average. Who wants to be average? And then our second headline about vacations. Think you can't afford to take a vacation? We think you can't afford not to take a vacation. Taking a vacation when you're on a budget is all about discounters, trade-offs, and not budgeting, but squirreling some money away throughout the year and then using that money that's been squirreled away. So how do we put those two together? I think our big idea today, guys, when you look at that first headline, a lot of people look at the rule of thumb, and the rule of thumb is not that much easier than just coming up with your own plan. And if you work backwards from your own plan, you're much more likely to not only get excited about that plan, but also because you're more excited about it, you're more likely to save toward it. You're also more likely to use the right investments for it. You're going to have the right risk management strategy. If we use rules of thumb, we're going to miss on all those areas. So where people obsess about fees. You know how much money fees cost you? Excess fees cost you a ton of money. People talk about that all the time. You know how much money not planning costs you in insurances that you don't need, in not having the right emergency fund, not having the right investments in the first place. I mean, I'll take a moderate fee investment that's going to land me the money I need at the time that I need it versus a super low fee investment that's doesn't return me anything, right? Talking to OG yesterday about somebody who just is obsessed with fees, and the investments they have currently are doing well over 2.5% better than the low cost investment that they want to go to so that they can save 0.5%. Yippee. Fantastic. You save 0.5% and you're getting there less likely because you want to use substandard stuff to reach your goal. The best way to reach your goal is to plan. And it's exactly the same for a vacation, right? When it comes to a vacation, a little planning ahead and using some of these discount sites, learning how they work can not only save you a lot of money, it becomes a lot of fun. And then realizing that you scored this huge vacation and spent a fraction of the money you thought you were going to spend is awesome. I mean, we're staying in several hotel rooms for free when we go to Germany. I also used airline reward points for the flight to Europe and the flight back. And part of my excitement about this trip isn't just all the cool stuff we're going to do. It's the fact that I'm doing it for so much less money than I thought I was going to when we first decided to go to Bavaria. Super excited about that. The big idea then today, kids, planning way better than you using an average. Take that, stackers, and run with it, right? You stack a lot more Benjamins by doing just a little planning. That's going to do it for today. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out on Facebook. Thank you for you at home for listening. We'll see you next time. This is Joe Saul-Sehy saying bye-bye.
Money in the Morning is created by Joe Saul-Sehy and is brought to our channels by our producer and engineer, Richie Rudder-Reese. Stacking Benjamins and Money in the Morning are for entertainment purposes. Before making moves, consult with your financial advisor. Looking for trading sessions? Kathleen Selmans has a great suite of Stacking Benjamins tools, so head on over to learn.stackingbenjamins.com. Hoping to chat with us on the web? Say hello to Shannon Cowan, our social media guru and community manager in our Facebook group. She can be found at stackingbenjamins.com/basement. From the basement, I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. See you tomorrow.
All right. That was fun. Hey, we are doing a Facebook Live in about an hour. Mr. Fi Guy is joining us, Taylor, and he's going to talk about he and his family's journey to financial independence. So that's coming up in an hour. Back here, that'll be more Q&A, more discussions. Taylor and I will start off talking about his situation, but then everybody can feel free to jump in there. So it should be fun. Glenn, that's cool. That's very similar. We're not staying with friends, but new friends who are giving us hotels for free. But but I love that. I mean, it's costing me, I think, a total of $400 to fly because they have those stupid fees. I don't understand how a flight is free with miles, but it's way not free still. But anyway, I don't make the rules. I'll take deeply discounted. So anyway, 11 o'clock Central, which is in just over an hour. I get to go talk to Phil Town right now. I love Phil Town. And he's going to be on the show next Wednesday. So we start that in 2 minutes. So I'll say goodbye here, and we'll see you again in about an hour, everybody.